got up at 6:30, got the kids up, I took them to school. This time I actually got dressed for my walk before we left the house. So after I got back at 7:50, I immediately just jumped out of the car and went straight for my walk, which took me an hour, and then I got home. And then I showered, changed, obviously what you see. I'm actually pulling up to get my nails done because I broke some unprofessionally. It looks terrible, especially when I'm pointing at listing agreements and people are staring at my fingers, so I get my nails done for that reason. I do dip powder in case you're curious, but I gotta go. It's gonna be a busy day. All right, so just so you know, as a mother, realtor, owner of a company, wife, homeowner, you get so bogged down with so much to do that you really have to just attack things as fast as possible. At least that's how I think. So I had to write down a list because it's all in my head, and that's probably the best thing you can do. So for myself, I, of course, and this is personal and business and health and everything. So I wrote down workout, done, nails, done, message Sue about 1 o'clock meeting at the condo, done, emails, because today's Wednesday, I do a Wednesday weekly email. I used to do all kinds of different emails. One of them being the market reports, where you send it to a homeowner either once a month or twice a month. I was doing that twice a month to, I can go on all about that. It didn't really work out that well. I want to say I probably lost more listings than I took because of those market reports. I know there's like HomeBot, that's like the new popular one, and I have very mixed emotions. I have yet someone to tell me, Adela, I got 10 listings just from sending out those HomeBots. That would be amazing if my experience is not that. So my switching gears, it's a little bit more of a newsletter. I used to get the emails from my previous coach. I just realized that the tonality wasn't there for me, and it was a little too businessy. So then I actually had tried a service where it was a bit more of a female tone. The email went out, send contract to lawyer. I'm still waiting for the contract to come back. I have to call for 2 hours. I actually have to finish our family health insurance. That is an annual thing, and it takes a few hours, but I did start the process. I just have to finalize it. Work on my marketing mailers. So I had experimented for many months, like a good 6 to 8 months of sending out mailers, and I was spending about $500 a month on that. Actually, no, I spent probably way more, maybe closer to like 10 or 12 months of doing mailers, and it just didn't really work out. And so I'm just switching gears, pivoting, and doing something a little bit more strategic where I'm targeting a building. You'd be surprised how difficult it is, because you can't necessarily do it through EDDM unless I'm wrong, but I've done some research, and there's one service in particular I'm going to try. I just actually have to, talking about it, I have to finalize the actual marketing list. So I have to finish the marketing list and work on the actual design rather than paying for someone to design. For myself, I would rather do something myself if I know I'm going to save time, because yes, I can pay someone and design it, but because I've done it before, and even like whether it was designing my website, it takes so long back and forth, and you're really just a number to some of these all these companies. When do they ever prioritize, like, I have one client, this project, I can get it done in 24 hours, Adela? That's just not gonna happen. So I just design everything myself. I've taught myself via YouTube. I've taught myself almost everything via YouTube. Even if I'm looking for advice, I go to YouTube. And that's why I post on YouTube, and that's why I have 2 channels. So I would rather just design it my way. I may not be the best at it, but I know I can get it done in a couple days rather than in a few weeks or a couple months. Yes, it can sometimes take weeks or months, depending on what it is, months for a website, and maybe a week or two for mailers, especially if you want it the right, the way you want it, back and forth, whatever. I could just do it in a few hours, maybe in a day or two, just design it, get it out. So you have to finish health insurance, call for 2 hours, work on the marketing mailer piece, finish the marketing list, everything else. Oh, and still waiting for that contract to send to the lawyer. So I'm working on this list to go out for marketing. It's an Excel spreadsheet of about 400 people, a little over 400. And most people would say to go ahead and outsource it, but since it's only a one-time thing, it's not like I actually spend, I don't do this weekly. This is like a one-time thing. And I personally am going through it because I believe that there is a difference when someone gets something in the mail and their last name is listed, it's like last name, comma, first name. That's just so unpersonalized and very manufactured and robotic. I just think it takes out the human element of it. So, and for example, if there's like a trust, or maybe the wife has a hyphenated name, I like to be respectful of that, just because I've worked with so many people in corporate America, primarily focused on their name. I know how it can be very sensitive to people, and I believe they have every right, because that is their name after all. I don't like to be called Adele. My name is Adela. I don't, it's just a personal thing. So I just think people deserve the respect, especially if you're going to be gaining their business. So I just like to make sure to spend time on doing this. This is just a one-time thing. So for example, here's, I'm looking at, it says Anthony Cordona, Anthony Cordona, but it's in a trust. It's this whole family thing, trustee, gerb, mumbo jumbo. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put his first name and his last name. I know he lives there. It's a living trust anyway. I want to say it's been about an hour and a half, and out of the 400 or so, I'm at 300. So I'm almost done. It's no big deal. I'm excited to not have to look at this list again, but you really have to put the time and effort. It's one of those things, whether it's building a website, whether it's building an email list, whether it's building your marketing list, maybe it's the people that you're going to send Christmas cards to. You should just be able to do it once, and then after that kind of maintain it here and there. So I don't believe I need to pay someone. People say that generally a lot to me, like, Adela, you spend way too much time on these tech things, but I'm sorry to have to go find someone, hire someone, teach them, train them. I would have already done it, especially if it's just a couple hours. And everything I always end up doing is very different. It's not always the same. So I think the biggest part is in terms of, okay, if I can just do this in 1 hour, this is like a 1 hour activity. I don't need to pay someone to do it. I have a YouTube channel, right? And I've had that for over 2 years now. And I'm working with this couple out of Texas. I'm actually working with multiple couples all over the country. But this one in particular, they are planning on coming to town sooner rather than later due to job relocation. And they were telling me how they're focused on a couple cities, and I realized, oh my gosh, I actually don't have a video in a particular city. So I told them, I was like, I'm gonna run out and go make you some videos about the city so you can see it from Texas. So I'm actually gonna plan on doing that at some point in the next few days. It'll probably be like on the weekend, but it's actually really nice and exciting that my free inbound efforts are paying off. If you're thinking about having a YouTube channel, just start now. Start, hit record, because you're just wasting time waiting, because it takes many, many months, if not a few years, to start seeing traction. So get to it. And this is my second YouTube channel. All right, so I actually finished the list that I was working on, and then I thought, you know what, instead of just waiting to do the design, I might as well just do the design now. And thankfully, I remembered that when I originally was doing postcards, I had a design. I already had the measurements. I already had the placement, because I was kind of freaking out, because when you do an actual postcard, you have to see like where the address gets printed for USPS. So thankfully I was able to just copy that. So I kind of knew where the text and the picture and my logo and all my information already is. So I was able to copy it and just pull in new information, make some changes. So I'm finally done with it. I'm really, really happy with it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and save it. And just so you know, I did use ChatGPT to help me with some kind of like catchphrases or terminology, or because I couldn't really figure out the exact wording. So I do love to use ChatGPT for a lot of like marketing things, or maybe even a tech, like I need help with a text or an email or anything like that. So anyways, I'm gonna be honest, I did not make phone calls today. I was supposed to, but in regard to priority, this mailer has to go out. And I've just been going back and forth with contracts and just everything kind of coming up. But I really did a lot. I mean, family-wise, I finalized our health insurance. I sent the contract to the lawyer, worked out, got my nails done, worked on the marketing mailer, finalized the marketing list. The emails went out. I messaged Sue. I actually added more things here because I forgot. Inform Joe regarding the appointment with Sue. Email the tenants because for another condo I'm doing. Rearrange that. Sent the email invite to the owner that I'm meeting with. So I got a lot done. I've been sitting here for most of the day working. I always love, and I'm sure you've heard this before and you'll hear it from me again, if I were to be hiring myself and I was supposed to be paying myself like this is my job, would I fire me? So I always like to think, okay, if I wasn't meeting the standard, I'm not doing my job, would I fire myself? And in that moment, I'm like, yes. Then I'm like, get to work. You're gonna lose your job. So in this case, would I fire myself today? Absolutely no. I got so much done. So until tomorrow.